Today, we're gonna learn how to professionally polish paint using my brand new Harbor Freight Bauer branded 6-inch dual action polisher and some Meguiar's 105 and 205 polishing compound. Hey guys, well, if you're like me and you've never polished a car before, well, don't worry. We're gonna learn together right now. So why am I doing this? Well, there's obviously plenty of videos on YouTube regarding professional detailing, including polishing, clay bar, washing, and all that stuff. But I haven't seen a strictly beginner's guide to all of that. And I haven't seen it done by a beginner, put together in an easy to follow video anyway. So that's my goal today. I want to learn how to professionally polish my car. Well, maybe not professionally, but at least try to get the professional results anyway. And I want to bring you guys along so we can all learn together. So the first thing I did to begin today's process was to clean off the passenger side door of my 95 Suburban. I basically took some soapy water and a microfiber towel, sprayed it down, and wiped it clean. After that was done, I took my mother's clay bar kit and clay barred the entire panel. Again, we're just focusing today on this passenger side front door. Now that the entire panel has been cleaned and clay barred and wiped down again, we can begin the first step of polishing. I want to reiterate here, guys, I am not a professional detailer. I know there are more steps, better steps perhaps, that can be taken during this process. But I would assume that most people don't want to go out and buy 10 different products just to prepare their paint for polishing, let alone buying the polisher, which the Harbor Freight one was 60 bucks, and it seems pretty cheap compared to anything else I can find, and the pads. And on top of that, you have to buy the polishing compound. Now in stores, these Meguiar's 32-ounce jugs of polishing compound were about 30 bucks. I was able to find them on Amazon for 20. So I'll put a link down in the description below for those if you're interested. This dual action polisher, on the other hand, is only sold at Harbor Freight. You may be able to find a coupon that brings the price down to $59.99, as I did. And the last thing I had to purchase was these foam pads. At Harbor Freight, there are 3 levels. This is the finest. This blue one here is the medium grade, and there's a slightly pink one that is a rougher grade. Rather than buy all 3 pads, I chose to stick with the medium and the fine. For some reason, it just makes sense in my head to use those 2 pads and use the polishing compound liberally. Now, from what I can tell, it is highly recommended that before you begin the polishing process, you first clay bar your paint. I bought this Mother's California Gold 2 clay bar kit, and I'll put a link down in the description below. Now, if you don't want to spend the $15 on a clay bar kit, which I still think is a really good deal for that kit, you can try using this plumber's putty. Now this stuff is a lot softer, so it probably won't take out everything that the clay bar will take out. But hey, this stuff is about $2 and it's definitely worth a shot. All right guys, well I'm gonna be starting with this Meguiar's 105. This is the ultra cut compound, and this is supposed to be an extra heavy cut according to this graph right here. So we'll see how this goes. I'm just gonna wing it here. I've seen a couple guys on YouTube do this, put 5 little dots and maybe 1 in the middle here. So I'm just gonna follow that advice because those guys were professionals. So hopefully you're supposed to do it somewhat like this. Then what they do is they go ahead and pat it on here. And I want to also mention that you can probably tell on the panel here, it's kind of wet. I wet my pad with the hose. So I just wanted this stuff not to dry out. So I also wanted to kind of give myself a little bit of grace here by wetting the pad. So I'm just going to start and we'll see how this goes. Wow. Lots and lots of vibration on your hands. I know you're supposed to keep the pad as flat as possible. Okay, I just kicked the speed way up. Try to cut down on the vibration. Holy smokes, guys. I gotta say there's a heck of a lot more vibration than I thought there'd be. I think according to the back of the bottle, it says to wipe this stuff off immediately when you're done. So I'll go ahead and do that. Stuff seems like it did dry out fairly quickly. I know I'm not doing it Exactly the way you're supposed to be doing it. Just doing my best, guys. This microfiber is a little bit damp, so it helped to get that stuff off of there. I wonder if I should do that again. I think I had the speed way too low when I first started. But man, I gotta tell you, this paint does feel smooth, but I can still see some of the swirl marks in there. Definitely didn't get out the stuff that I wanted it to get out. And of course, I only did it for a minute. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and shake this stuff up. It does say to shake it up on the bottle, and I'll apply my compound. Go ahead and spread it around. I did notice too, holding my left hand on the top here seemed to cut down quite a bit on the vibration. When I'm way out here, there's a lot of vibration on this thing, but holding it on the top here definitely cuts way down. But man, there was a heck of a lot of vibration on here. I gotta say, that thing vibrates a heck of a lot. It seems very, very powerful. That speed I was just using was just under 4. I think that was plenty fast. Go ahead and wipe this off again. I did tape up my door handle, just trying to protect that from getting any, of the staining from this stuff. Well guys, the paint is definitely super smooth at this point. I am gonna be looking very closely to make sure I'm not causing any problems myself. So I'm trying to fix this paint. I don't wanna be ruining it. Well, so far so good on that upper portion. I'm gonna take care of the lower portion here. Here we go. Go ahead and wipe this stuff off. I can tell right now that the paint is extremely smooth. I just need to be positive that, I'm not messing it up. Okay, so what I am seeing right here is some of the swirl marks that were deep into this paint from before, where someone might have taken a rag and tried to scrub something out of the paint. I was seeing those before, obviously, and I tried to show those on camera, but now they look different. Now I can still see the swirl marks, but they actually look clean, if that makes sense. They don't look dark, like they're filled in with any sort of dirt or anything. They're still there, but they're clean, and they look smoother, and obviously I can't really feel them with my finger, so they're still there because they're fairly deep. But it looks good, it looks clean. I don't think that I'm actually causing my own issues at all. I can't see anything that would indicate that. The paint seems really, really smooth and mirror-like, and this is just the first, phase, the cutting compound. So I think that we're gonna be really good when we actually come back over with our finishing compound. All right, so I decided to go over this lower portion one more time just to try to take care of some of these marks and everything, and I grabbed some earplugs because this thing is loud. Okay. All right, here I'm trying to show you some of these scratches that are still in there. I think you're getting a good view of them now. Hopefully you can kind of get a sense for some of these really deep scratches that are in the paint. But like I said, they look clean now. This compound and the polishing has cleaned them out, but they're still there. All right, so last thing I'm gonna do here is work on this bottom half. So I'm gonna get this stripe of blue here that's above this trim, and then I'll get the bottom part of the blue there, and we'll see if we can't see the difference before and after. This one looks really good. I mean, I do see some scratches and stuff that go, horizontally. So if I start seeing scratches that are going, in a round pattern, I'll know that that's being caused by something I'm doing. Okay, wipe this down and check her out. Yeah, I started this thing out and I forgot to spread the compound out first, so it kind of sprayed everywhere. Lesson learned. Okay. Okay, so I think you can see some of the scratches that are in this paint in the blue section. They, again, are not coming out, but that's probably due to me not knowing exactly what I'm doing. However, it does look extremely smooth. The paint feels smooth and it looks nice and glossy. So I know the compound is working and everything is working, but my technique, I'm sure I'm not able to get onto the surface as good as I would like. So yeah, you can see those scratches there. We're figuring it out, right? All right, guys, so I have the black pad on. This is the ultra fine pad, the finishing pad. What I'm gonna do is go over the whole panel with the 205 finishing compound, and we'll see how smooth this stuff gets. Again, I have pre-wet this, so I just kind of ran it under the hose and then shook all the water out of it. Again, we're gonna shake this stuff up. Probably way too much, but like I said, I like having more than enough on there so I don't burn anything. I gotta slow down. I don't know why I have this tendency of trying to go really fast. I just need to slow down. Probably have the machine on about level 3 right now. I'm not pressing really hard enough it seems to keep this thing on the truck. Trying to let the pad and the compound do the work. Trying to also make sure I go slow enough so that it has time. Go ahead and buff this stuff off and hope we didn't screw up our paint. Okay, so I had my wet rag to take it off. Now I'm going to use a dry, clean microfiber to really try to buff it out. Wow. The paint is definitely incredibly smooth looking. Okay guys, the only way I can really show you the finish here is by having you pay attention to my reflection. Okay, so you can see me right there in the reflection of the paint. You see this bottle right here also. Now I'm going to switch from side to side, and I want you to pay attention to the colors and the reflectivity of the paint. So here we go. Much, much different. There's a huge difference there in the reflectivity of the paint. On this side I can see a lot of fine detail in the reflection. And on this side, it's just a lot cloudier. And I did clean this side off. I know it's silly, but I hope this shows you really the before and the after. I can tell you just by feeling it with the top of my hand, I mean, it feels incredibly smooth. Incredibly smooth. This side obviously does too. I did clay bar the whole paint, so it should feel smooth. But I can see the difference in reflection for sure. This side has a really good reflection. All right guys, well I am done with this passenger side front door you see here, and it is very, very shiny. I'm really happy with the result for the first time that I ever did anything like this. I know I could do a lot better, but for my first time and trying to film it for you guys, I feel like the results turned out really, really good. The paint is now super, super smooth. The smoothest I've ever felt paint. And there are no micro scratches or swirl marks to speak of. The only thing is those deep scratches that I showed you before, I can still see some of them, but they are very clean now, so it's not like they stand out. Well, now that we have our paint feeling silky, silky smooth, the last thing we have to do is actually protect it. So I'm just going to use some of this new finish that I have on hand, because it's the only thing I have on hand, and just wipe it down on the panel with a damp rag. And this should fill in any of those little tiny minute scratches that you can't see with your own eye. And then once I buff it off, it'll be nice, shiny, and protected. All right, it looks like this new finish is dry. I know the bottle does say no rubbing or buffing, but I'm really curious as to what else you might call this. I do love the product. I feel like it works really good. There we go. I can feel that silky smoothness now. Unbelievable. It is so incredibly smooth. Well, all right, guys, I know it's going to be very, very hard for you to tell. But here is the finished panel, protected and everything. Very, very nice. You can see my reflection very clear reflection in the white bright paint. And here it is from this angle. Down in this blue section, you can see just how clean this paint is. The buffing really did help here. Well, there you have it, guys, the detailing diaries of a noob. Yes, this was my first time, but I feel like it went okay. I definitely learned a lot on how to actually hold the buffer to reduce the amount of vibration. When I first started the buffing, the vibration was so bad, I thought there was no way I could continue because it was so bad, my hands were tingling. But after a while, I did figure out just how to hold that buffer to reduce that vibration to a minimum, and I think the way to do that is to put most of your pressure right above the actual buffing pad. That's what I did anyway, and the vibration seemed to drastically reduce. As for the compound itself, the 105, the ultra cut compound, I thought that was going to be like really aggressive, and it turns out it's not so aggressive after all. Yes, it is great. It gets rid of a lot of the little minute scratches and everything, probably a lot of swirl marks that you'd see in black paint, but it definitely wasn't so aggressive that I felt like I was going to ruin my paint. And that 205, well, it's appropriately named Ultra Finishing Polish. The moment I started using that, I could feel the vibration was even less, and that was because there was less friction on the actual paint. All in all, I thought for my first time the result was pretty good. The paint is extremely smooth, silky, glossy smooth. I am a little disappointed that some of those deep scratches weren't removed, but I doubt those things could ever be removed unless you maybe like wet sanded the whole panel and then buffed it out, which I'm definitely not going to do. I just wanted to see how good I could get this paint to look using very minimal process. All I did was basically clean the panel, clay barred it, use the 105 Ultra Cut and the 205 finishing compound. And that gave me a really good finish. You know, now that I'm over here looking at this panel again and comparing it with the rear passenger side door, I can really tell a magnificent difference in those minute micro scratches. On this front passenger door, it is literally mirror-like. And when I come to the rear passenger door, I can see tons and tons of little scratches that I used to be able to see in the front door. So that makes me happy. That lets me know that what I did wasn't a waste of time. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed watching my first time buffing out a panel of my car. I hope you learned something. If you did, please hit that thumbs up. It really, truly helps the channel. Also, if you guys don't know, I have officially announced a build for this 95 Suburban. I'll put a link for that video down in the description below. And you can join the team. We already have some backers on the team who have made a donation, and their names are up on my website. You can go to the website at www.oneroadgarage.com, click on the button that says join the team, go ahead and read about what we're trying to do, and if you'd like your name there right alongside the others, it's simple. You just make a small donation. I thank you in advance. My name is Jimmy. This channel is One Road, and I will see you in the next one.